Yo, yo, yo. What's up, everyone? I hope you're all doing well and that you all had a great weekend. So, did I do it right? It's been 2 weeks that we haven't done a live, so yeah, I should be live right now. Okay. So, I hope that everyone's well, as usual. If anyone could let me know in the live chat if the sound is good, the video, of course, as well, in case there's any problems. Before I dive into the analysis, so I'll just wait a couple of seconds just to see if I get any confirmations. And if not, we'll dive straight into it. Mm, 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 mm. So all good. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Rami. Hope you're well. So okay, I'll dive into everything. There's a bit to recap this week, of course. Hi Jean-Pierre, I hope you're doing well. Pretty interesting week, and as I just said, I have a bit that I want to talk about before diving into the analysis. But very quickly, personally, I took two trades this week. On Wednesday I took a long position. I took profits there, which was before the FOMC. And then on Friday, actually, this was just straight up a bad trade. On Friday, I took the long position at 113.3, which was the level outlined inside of our YouTube updates. So with that said, let's go over to the charts. Again, this was the long position. I did actually take a couple of shorts as well that I could have held on to. I opened one on Monday, all because I wanted to see my support level, which was this ugly low taken. I opened one on Tuesday, and then these were the only two short positions that I opened. Took profits on both and actually closed them. And that's mainly what I want to talk about. So overall, decent analysis, but I do have one big problem. I mean, not a problem, but there's always something important to learn whenever you misanalyze move, and this was market sentiment. So mainly, when we got this bounce, I remember at 115,900, every single person on Twitter was long. I mean, I don't know what was the reason, but everyone had the same support level, 116.2. Everyone opened a long position on this low. And when I did my update, which was on Thursday, I did decide to overlook this fact, which of course is very important for myself to note for future analysis, but I did decide to overlook this fact, even though it was very obvious in my opinion that everyone was too bullish and we would get that breakdown to the downside. I even did think about shorting this high because this was sent inside the Discord. I was waiting for this low to get taken out. Okay, so it was on the Discord, right there. This can load. So I was waiting for the low of this candle to get taken out. And when I saw this bounce, okay, without taking out the low of this candle, I did think about opening short position, but I didn't. And again, in hindsight, it was an extremely easy one. I mean, you had an ugly low. Everyone was long from this low. And yeah, this is just something quick to note for myself. And if anyone else maybe had troubles maybe trading or reading market sentiment, but I do believe that this week I'm a bit disappointed in myself because usually I am pretty good at reading market sentiment, and that's how, I mean, we did predict this low, this low, this low, and this low, and a lot of lows. So it's not so much about finding the level sometimes, but it's also about reading market sentiment. And one last time before I dive into today's analysis, every single person, at least that I saw on Twitter, was long from this low. Okay, so quick ranting from myself before we dive into the analysis. I mean, we even had the gnarly imbalance right at the highs. This one was perfect. I was still asleep right there, but again, an hourly imbalance called the highs. You can see you got the bounce. It appeared just at the highs before you got that big reversal to the downside. So with that said, again, pretty sideways weekend, but everyone seems to be extremely emotional on Twitter for some reason. But yeah, let's dive into the analysis. So we have broken my support level. which I did try to trade and took a loss. Okay, once again, I did take a loss on this trade. So what's next? Well, we have retested the old all-time high, which I did talk about on YouTube. In my opinion, this trade is a bit too obvious, which is why I don't like the slow. Okay, but one thing to note, we do have a 12-hour imbalance on Bybit, and on Binance we do have a bit of a selling climax. So when I go back to Bybit, yes, I don't like this low for now. So how could you play around this? Well, I would just outline this order block on the 12-hour chart, which would be the fill of the daily imbalance. This would be the last support, in my opinion, for the bull market to continue. If you lose this level, in my opinion, is GG, and we can look for much lower prices. So this week, I think we do potentially have a very interesting scenario to come and play. I think I want to remove this for now. Let me hide this all-time high. I want to keep my chart clean. I can also remove this, or maybe I can add the, yeah. So I can remove this as well, and I'll keep this, not a problem. But I think for now I want to look for the fill of the 12-hour, which would be, we have a daily as well. We do have these wicks. Okay, so I'll take this for now, this area. I do believe that we bounce into this area before dropping lower, if we are to drop lower, of course. So I do believe that this area will get reached this week. Do we push higher? This remains to be seen. So how can you potentially play around this? Do we have anything else on Binance? I think that would be it. Don't have a daily. Okay, so so the way I would play this probably is, do you have anything on the lower time frames? Trusting order block right there. Okay, so I think honestly whichever area gets reached first will offer a trade. In my opinion, this week what I would look for, probably a drop into this order block, potentially in the Asian session, and then bounce into this area. I really want this low to get taken out. I really don't like this low, okay? So potentially if we bounce first, this could offer a short position for a drop back into the support, and this will be a critical support area for Bitcoin, because again, if we lose it, in my opinion, the bull market is over. For now, as long as we remain above it, there's no point in being hyper bearish, but again, this one has to be a massive area. To be safer, you could wait for the loss of 107.5. This, in my opinion, would be pretty much a certain confirmation, even though you don't have certainties, of course, but this would be as close as you can get to being certain that the top is in. If you lose this level, really, at this point, you can look for much lower prices, okay? $85,000 will be a pretty easy target, in my opinion. But for now, this will be the actionable support level that I can see. So if we rise first, we drop, we can see, do we get a bounce to the upside? Maybe even potentially break back above this high for much higher prices, or does this just offer a small bounce, potentially high, lower high, and we continue lower in the charts. Okay, so for this week on Bitcoin, I think these are the two levels that I would like to focus on. I don't know if I have any confluence right there for this one above. Haha, good game indeed. So I don't really have any confluence on this level. I got on the 12-hour. Okay, this one would be interesting. So as a second level, I just want to take the midpoint of the, so this is the Binance imbalance, 17,000. Mark this, remove this, remove this. Okay, so I think this would be your second level. Okay, so just be aware of the second level, 116.7. Okay, for now I will remove it just because again I like to keep my charts clean. I'll remove this, I'll keep this, I'll keep this, and just keep the 7 in mind in case we break above this. I think breaking above the 7 would be a big sign of strength, okay, for much higher prices. But if you break this area, I think that this could still offer rejection. So two levels above, this would be the first, this would be the second. Okay, so for now I will remove this just because again personally I like to keep my charts very simple. But for now, one area below, one area above. Do you want to operate in between? This is a personal decision. Personally, I'm just waiting. Maybe if you drop back into this order block with imbalances, I might take a stab at a long position just because I really do believe that we do reach this area before dropping lower, or maybe we just go higher. But that would be it for Bitcoin, area above, area below, and let's keep it very simple. Really enjoy you evaluating yourself. That personal aspect is really helpful for me and how to act as a trader. Well, I'm glad that you enjoyed because sometimes I feel like I'm just yapping and keeping the stream too long. So appreciate the kind words. And yes, I do believe that whenever I get my analysis wrong, I like to reevaluate because I do have to admit on YouTube we do have a pretty high win rate. I mean, just looking at this option again, we called this low, we called this low, and we called this low. Okay, and we had one level for each, so it's not like I had 5 different support levels and then I claimed to have called this low. You all know I had only this support level, and right there I had only this support level. So usually when I miss an update, especially on YouTube, it does mean that I did analyze something pretty wrong because yeah, you know, it's not too hard to read the market on Bitcoin, at least for me. And we called this low as well, if you remember, we called this low. So yeah, whenever I miss a YouTube update, I am not too happy with myself. That's what I can say. But at the same time, I cannot have 100% win rate. That's literally impossible. But again, that was it. So I'll keep it as it is for Bitcoin. If you guys have any questions for this, you can let me know in the live chat. And now I can move on to Ethereum. So this one, again, we did share it in our YouTube update, which was on Friday, I believe. We had this very big support, which did get reached and is offering a bounce. So from the low to the high, if anyone managed to catch the low, very nice 4.5% bounce. This is honestly a pretty good trade if anyone caught it. But again, this was shared on YouTube. I wanted to see a drop into it to see a bounce to the upside. Now on Ethereum, unlike Bitcoin, I do actually like this low. Okay, so I don't really want to see it taken out. So that's why potentially I'm looking for a move up first. So if we move up first on Bitcoin, maybe Ethereum could bounce a bit harder. And if we do see another low on Bitcoin, then maybe Ethereum will just go sideways before going higher. If we lose the support area, in my opinion, it would be pretty big sign of weakness for this coin. So not much to outline on Ethereum. Dodge, please. Okay, we'll analyze Dodge. So Ethereum, let me fix the daily open actually, would be there. So Ethereum, I do have this resistance, which I'll keep an eye on as well. We can remove, I'll keep this one for YouTube in case I do decide to recap, but resistance to be broken on ETH. Do we have any confluence? Volume profile. I don't see much on Ethereum on this. But from here, so this is confluence for support. So no, I don't think I'm gonna find much confluence up there. Maybe we might have an anchor view up, bro. But I still think this is going to be a very strong resistance if reached. Okay, so we will probably have the anchored view up if we get a somewhat quick move inside of this area. But on Ethereum, I think this one is pretty simple. This is the support, this is the resistance. If you break the support, I think this would be a very big sign of weakness. And then I do believe that Ethereum could offer just one last bounce before continuing lower. Okay, so just into this resistance. I will just, okay, so for Ethereum, we'll keep it like this. Solana, So Solana just broke my support. So yeah, probably you want to look for 150 next. What is this level? I'm gonna remove this for now and this. So it's a daily imbalance. Okay, so plus if I remember well, I had a point of control. So yeah, daily imbalance plus point of control. This should be a very big level on Solana. So could you get that drop into this level? Plus 150 is a very big psychological level, of course. So 150 maybe bounce back to the upside. You do have a 12-hour right there. So probably goes higher, honestly. For now, I'll just keep this. This would be your target, at least for the bounce 172. Was it filled on the 1 hour? It wasn't. Okay, so I do like this high. Probably this would be your scenario on Solana. Bounce to 150 to 170, I think is possible. And then following Ethereum, following Bitcoin, we can see, do we get a reversal to the downside or does it move higher? Okay, guys, so that would be it for Solana. 150 should get reached and should be a very big level, except of course if Bitcoin just goes straight down, then I don't believe we'll get any bounce on these altcoins. But again, 150, this will be your big level. XRP, I don't have much on this coin. I don't see much. I'm not gonna claim to see anything. Nothing. So I think we can move on. Kaito, this was just dead. I'm glad I didn't trade it. Aave is coming back down. I'll keep an eye on this area. Not the best one. So the best setup to me, honestly, would be Solana for the long and Ethereum for the short up there. These would be my favorite setups for now, just by looking at all coins. And okay, that would be it. So let's analyze Dodge. And see, I had done a bit of analysis on my own actually. For a bit of a bounce, but yeah. What was this? Very simple, daily imbalance and anchored VWAP. So we can remove this. And what do we have next on Dodge? Take the midpoint first. Let's go on the daily. So this would be this. Would be on the 3-day, on the weekly. So, okay, you have an order block on the 4-hour, which is nice to see. Was it 12-hour open? It was on the daily, right? So daily as well, just to leave this imbalance behind. I don't think you want to fill this one. Of course, you take the volume profile, and you have the point of control right there, which is perfect. I would just outline 2 levels just to be safe. I wouldn't like this one, okay, but just keep it in mind so you can put it in dashed if you want. This should be your weaker level. That would be your choice to trade, but you can see right there you have this daily open, which would leave this imbalance behind. That would be perfect in my opinion. 0.18, 0.18 pretty much. And the point of control actually would be down there, so let's put this back in normal. So you have 2 levels on Dodge. The stronger one, in my view, would be wait, I just need to find a bit more confluence. So on the 4-hour, you have a bit of volume coming on down there. If you look at the rise, you'll see didn't move. Okay, so your 2 levels on Dodge would be this 0.18, 0.17. These would be your 2 levels. But I mean, do you want to trade this coins? Doesn't look the best on the higher time frames, honestly. It's not the best coin. You could offer maybe a bit of a bounce. Could I look for a target to the upside? I mean, yeah, you have this 4-hour. I'm not the biggest fan of it though. Yeah, you probably want to look for a drop into these levels to then bounce to the upside. This would be my my analysis on Dodge. But of course, this all depends on Bitcoin and Ethereum. Okay, if you just continue lower, so if you get, for example, maybe down, up, and then straight down, your altcoins are not going to bounce. Okay, so Dodge is not going to bounce, Solana is not going to bounce, and Ethereum, which is very important to note in my opinion, has already bounced. I really wouldn't like this area to be taken out. Okay, so that would be it for Dodge, but in my opinion, again, just look for stronger coins. I don't think this coin looks very strong. Plus, it's Dodge, it's a meme, it's an old meme. Like, I don't know who really cares about it anymore. One last maybe analysis for this, since this is a meme, this would be a bit more important. I mean, unbalanced volume does look decent on the daily, but you've already had the pump. Like, this was the pump to take advantage of, in my opinion. Didn't fill this daily right there, so maybe you have one leg remaining on this coin. But yeah, stronger coins out there in my opinion if you really want to trade it. I mean, these are the two levels. Both of them will be pretty strong in my opinion. You have point of controls on both. You have a daily imbalance. I would honestly prefer this one, but down there would be fine. So just trade the reactions and watch Bitcoin at the same time. Can you also take a look at INJ, AVAX, and CRV? So INJ, there would be INJ. If you want, I can instantly see. You probably want to take out this low on INJ. Okay, probably don't want to fill the daily, so I'm gonna remove this. So 11.85. Again, point of control will be down there. That's nice to see. Let me keep the developing POC right now, just as a bit of confluence. And then if you take it from here, point of control will be down there. Well, you have a lot of volume traded all throughout this range, which is particular, definitely. But yeah, I think your best trade on INJ will be a liquidity grab below 11.85. Okay, and look on the 4 hour. Okay, that's a 1. 12 hour as well. So that would be a pretty nice trade on INJ. If you can just take out that low and then reverse to the upside. That would be nice, but I would look for this low to be taken out. In my opinion, this isn't a good low, so that would be it for INJ. Anything lower, in my view, you don't want to trade it. Yeah, I don't see the best levels down there, so this level does really have to hold. Again, 11.85. We can look at the AVAX. AVAX, we did share the setup. Oh, that was on the Discord, right? And it did actually offer a bounce if you took it. 7%, not bad. So this setup was shared. I remember this one was inside the Discord. So we got the drop, we got the bounce. I didn't even see that one. But yeah, decent setup on AVAX for this one. Let's go on the weekly. Okay, you just filled the weekly imbalance. Let me mark this out as well. Same setup as INJ in my opinion, but this one does look a bit uglier simply because you bottom for now far away from this low, which could mean that you'll have a bigger drop coming, which means more weakness. So I think INJ looks better for the same setup. This one just looks better in my opinion. But back to AVAX, I'd just keep an eye on this. Your entry could very simply be if we push lower, let's say we do something like this, your entry would be right there if you want to be safer on this coin. But for this one, I wouldn't look to trade a liquidity grab below that low. I'm not the biggest fan of this coin right now. It just doesn't look very good. INJ looks much stronger. And then finally CRV. Can ETH do a retest of that low? Okay, we'll dive into it just after looking at CRV. So CRV, we front run my level, which I had for such a long time. I mean, I had been talking about this wick pretty much since this high. We came back down and These lows are so ugly. I can't believe we moved up from there. But CRV probably you just fill this daily. I mean, I would be super surprised if we don't come down to fill this daily. Will this be an actionable long position? I don't know. I really don't know. I don't think it will. Uh, hmm. Wow, we have a weekly imbalance on that drop. Lots of liquidations, eh? What about the weekly open? This could be a better one in my view. Nah. So I don't know. CRV to me, I don't see. I'm sorry, I just don't see a level. I'm not gonna make a prediction on a coin where I don't see the best level. But all I can say is that you should expect 0.75 to get tapped in case you want to look for shorts on retracements. Yeah, I don't think this one is done dropping. That's my take on it. I don't think it's done dropping. So yeah, CRV, I don't see the best levels. I would even like remove this, but if you want, just mark it out as a target for the drop if you want. Not the best setups on this coin. So Ethereum, could Ethereum retest that low? I mean, definitely, you could take out that low one more time before rising. I'll be honest, I wouldn't like it. I like the low as it is if you want to see higher prices on Ethereum. So yes, you could retest it, but I personally I wouldn't like it. Okay, I would maybe like the retest just like Bitcoin of this order block right there. So order block and then continue higher towards this area, and then from there, of course, we can see if this offers a short position. So for Ethereum, I think yes, I mean yes, of course you could get it, but personally I wouldn't like it. That's all I can say. Okay. So with that said, if we don't have any more questions, I do want to do one last thing, which is Elliott waves on Bitcoin. But before I do that, I would just like to know if you guys actually understand Elliott waves or if it doesn't change anything for you. So if you don't understand it, maybe I won't cover it, and if you do, then we can quickly dive into the Elliott waves. But you guys understand Elliott waves? Are you still planning on doing a video about your trading career? Yes, but not right now. Right now, I just want to focus on pumping as much analysis as I can and just definitely getting even more accurate than I am now. Even though like we do have a pretty high accuracy, I do have to admit. What advice would you give to your younger self as a trader? Just be more patient, because not being patient ruins your mindset, and I have learned this too many times. If you're not patient and you overtrade, this is when you'll run down your account, you'll take freaking 10 losses in a day, you lose nights of sleep, you'll take the worst trades possible, no risk management. Just not being patient is the worst thing you'll do as a trader. And the problem with most traders is this: it's being patient. It's just waiting for their levels to get tapped and then taking a trade. I like Elliott waves, especially on the higher time frames. Okay, so we'll cover Elliott waves quickly before ending the stream. If you don't have any more questions, if you do, of course, send them in the live chat. So for the Elliott waves, okay, we have two counts, of course. We have one bullish count and one bearish count. So for the bullish count, this is not for the bearish count. Actually, this is where I do my analysis for the Elliott waves. So we can hide this and delete this. Do I still have my counts? Did I hide some? Where's my is it this one? Okay, so this would be your bearish count. So I just want to remove these and these ABC and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and these as well. They're pretty useless right now. This, and this, and this is what I want to keep. So for the bearish count, which looks decent until now, is that, as we talked about many times before, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is done. Okay, we had counted this impulse before getting the high. It was a very clean one. And this really looks like a completed impulse, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In which case, if this is still true, okay, we are still potentially in an expanding flat. And I do want to mention why, which would be, of course, where's the polyline? So which would be A, B expanding flat above the highs of wave 5, and then we are coming down in a wave C. Now, there's one reason why discount has become important again, in my view. And this reason is simply because if we do indeed lose $110,000, okay, which would be this 12-hour order block, this very simply looks like a three-wave move, okay? This move to the upside is very clear in my opinion, 1, 2, 3. I cannot count this as an impulse. I don't really think you can. And if you try to, I think it will be a very ugly count. So this really looks good as a three-wave move, which would mean that this was the wave A, which looks corrective, of course, wave A, wave B in a three-wave move, and now you will move down in wave C in a five-wave move, okay? So the reason that this count, again, is very important to keep an eye on right now is very simply because if I remove this move, which could be the wave B, does look like a three-wave move. There's no way around this in my opinion. If Bitcoin does fail to bottom somewhere around here, so if you don't bottom and make one more all-time high, in my opinion, this is simply a completed three wave. So A, B, C, this would be your WXY, Y for your B wave, so A, B, C, which would be an expanded flat for a move down. But this count doesn't become super important until you lose this order block. Okay, so $111,000 pretty much. You could push lower, which personally I would hate. But for me, at least, my last line of support for the bulls will be this order block. Okay, if you lose this, in my opinion, it becomes extremely ugly. Okay, and for now, I don't like this low because it was a retest of that all-time high, which in my opinion, everyone will be talking about tomorrow. I haven't opened Twitter yet. I mean, today I haven't opened Twitter yet to look at sentiment, but I can already guess that if we do bounce going into tomorrow, which would be my primary plan, just to reach that resistance, I can see a scenario where everyone will be talking about this was just a retest of the old all-time high, and now we are off for much higher prices. Okay, so I do think we get one more drop, but if you lose the several, just keep in mind that this could be an expanding flat, A, B, C, and this was a three-wave move. So this is the only count that I want to cover. For the bullish count, I mean, there's no need to cover it because you have many bullish counts. It's very simple if you are able to hold that support, or very simply if I'm wrong and you do move up from here, then in my opinion, of course, the bullish count just keeps on going. How often do you use Elliott waves? Not very often, honestly. The last time I based my bias on it was right there, which we did count on YouTube, simply because this was a super clean impulse. You can watch our YouTube updates all the way through this move up, but we did have this 1, 2. I think this was 3, 4, 5. Okay, but this impulse, I'll have to remember, but I remember it was 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Was it 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, 4, 5, maybe something like this? I forgot, but I do remember that you had a pretty simple extension into this high of wave 5, and then you got that very big drop to the downside. Okay, so that was the last time I really used Elliott waves. For now, I think you have just one big level that you need to hold, which is $111,000, which I do expect to get reached. So next week, if you don't just go sideways and have a dead week, next week should be extremely important. And one last thing to note on the weekly time frames. Let me hide my analysis. Imbalances, guys. You have a weekly imbalance, which marked the top. You have another weekly imbalance, which marked another high. So again, weekly imbalances, you can see that they don't appear much. I mean, the last one that appeared before those two was in November 2024. So long time ago, but you can see that the two weekly imbalances, this one offered a retracement and this one is offering a retracement. Okay, guys. So that would be it for the Elliott waves. I just wanted to cover the bearish count because I don't need to go over the bullish count. There's just no point going over 10 different bullish counts. But yeah, okay. Lose the support, we have a very big problem. So I want to remove this just to do. So I will do the final recap on Bitcoin if you don't have any more questions. Why don't you like the current low? Because psychologically speaking, it's a very easy low. I mean, again, you had the all-time high. It's a retest of the all-time high. You're bouncing, okay? So again, in my opinion, tomorrow everyone will be talking about this. Like it's a perfect retest. Oh my god, it was so easy, and then you get another dump to the downside. Okay, just to retest this level. So that's why a recap on Bitcoin. Atom, if this wasn't enough for you to understand why I don't like the low, just tell me. But pretty simple. I just look at the psychology, and actually, there's a technical side, of course, which is at this point, I do expect the fill of the daily imbalance. Okay, so it's not very common to get a big drop past the midpoint and not fill the candle. Okay, so this on its own, just purely looking at imbalances, you have to expect the fill of this candle. So for these two reasons, the most important one for me is the psychological reason, but I do expect at least one more low. So with that said, I will do the final recap on Bitcoin. Okay, you have this order block that you could note on your charts. Let me mark it out right there. My scenario would be, for now, that we jump into it in the Asian session probably. Okay, you bounce going into the weekly open. We have two resistances. I did outline one above, which was the midpoint of this 12-hour candle. So was it 116.7? I forgot, but I'll talk about it on YouTube if we break above this area. But for now, it would be a drop into the order block, move up into this area, and then we can see. Personally, I would love just a very aggressive rejection into this level, and then we can see, do we get a bounce to the upside, or do we simply chop, bounce, and then continue lower? In which case, this would be a massive sign of weakness and would probably mark the end of the bull market. So we shouldn't have any more questions. Thank you very much. Let's make it a good week as usual. Of course, if this plan doesn't hit, I'll try to come out with YouTube updates and be as accurate as I can as usual. I will be very open. I am very disappointed in not cutting this high. I let myself down big time. Just stupid of me. But at least on this drop, I did say that it looked pretty bad, and we did drop lower, so wasn't caught in a bad long position. So with that said, I hope that you all enjoyed this live stream. Thank you all for your questions, and as usual, I will see you tomorrow morning. No trading for me today. Maybe if we get a job during the Asian session, but I will probably be asleep because I'm pretty tired. But again, I hope that you all had a great weekend. I hope that you all enjoyed the rest of your weekend, and I wish you all a profitable week trading ahead. So see you soon, everyone, and goodbye.